Ladies and gentlemen, when you look at this map, you are looking at the red where there are no more maternity care. And look at how much it is. That's because there's not a lot of people having babies in the US like it was before. So a lot of places are opting just to get rid of their maternity ward altogether. So women are now finding it very difficult, depending on your state and where they can get maternity care. So let's get into this story. Miles from treatment and pregnant, how women in maternity care deserts are coping and healthcare options dwindling. And just looking at the map, you can see how bad it's gotten in America. It's really not that many births going on, not anymore, you know? So it goes into a hospital. Now, the biggest place that have suffered is rural areas. Those areas have suffered the most, and they had the biggest closures in the country. So now these women must travel miles and miles away to even get maternity care and to even have their babies. So the hospital closures and shortage of providers are among the factors worsening maternity care in Texas and across the country. So, a 2023 report by a nonprofit, March of Dimes, considers more than one third of counties in the nation maternity care deserts, meaning they do not have a hospital or birth center offering any kind of care to mothers. So in Texas, the statistic is even worse, with 46.5% of the counties are deserts. Rural areas in the state, 28.4% of women who live more than 30 minutes from a birthing hospital, while the same is true for just 3.8% of the women in urban areas, according to the report. The March of Dimes in 2022 report found that 2 in 3 maternity care deserts in the country are rural counties, and only 7% were able to find providers in those rural areas. 7%, that's extremely low. That is very low. So, not only are these women having a problem finding the place to get care and birth their babies, they are also having trouble with postpartum care. So, normally, they said with Medicaid, Texas will cover 60 days of any type of postpartum. And that is the federal minimum at this particular time. State plans extend that to a year of postpartum care. So, you know, with healthcare being also a factor, because if a woman don't have health care and she can't afford the out of pocket costs for postpartum care. So they go on to say postpartum care is essential for mothers' mental and physical health, especially women with chronic health conditions. And they said, and you always got a segment of women that suffer from postpartum depression. So the March of Dimes found that 1 in 3 pregnancy related deaths happened in the postpartum period, and the majority of pregnancy related deaths were preventable. In 2021, the mortality rate in the US was 32.9 deaths per 100,000 live births. That's pretty sad. for a nation that is supposed to be as powerful as America. You got a horrible, horrible mortality rate. And it shouldn't be this way. You got all this money and status and power, and you got a crappy 32.9 deaths per 100,000. That is sorry. Somebody's not doing their job. So, anyway, according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, infant mortality rose 3% in the country last year, it rose to 5.6 deaths per 1,000 live births. Then you're not an advanced country. You're not. You're not an advanced country. America's not advanced at all. So, the most significant increase in 2 decades, according to the March of Dimes. The United States is one of the most dangerous developed nations for childbirth. Yes, especially for Black women. So, the infant mortality is especially high among Black women and babies born to Black women. Yeah, and it's exclusively to Black women, which means these things are not natural, y'all. Just understand, it's not natural. The same people that are the descendants of slaves are the same ones suffering the most. This is deliberate. This is deliberate, y'all. Make no mistake about it. So, the Supreme Court decision in Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health, which overturned landmark, they're talking about Roe v. Wade, is leaving women in dozens of states with further gaps in care. So, some places have criminalized, if anybody performs the A, that is now criminalized. And it's criminalized in a place like Texas and other states as well. So, even though it was some potential, so what they're pretty much talking about is the legality in the whole thing. You get an A, you are now a felon. If you cross state lines, even if you do that, they can still come after you, especially if you are in a state like that. It's not a coincidence that states that have a highly restrictive A law also tend to have the largest swaths of maternity care deserts, and also really don't invest in maternity care. Mhm. So they don't invest in nothing. They don't invest in prenatal care, postpartum care, nothing. Fewer medical students are applying to residency programs in states with A bans, according to the Association of American Medical Colleges. So the analysis shows a 10.5% drop in OBGYN applicants. Wow. And these are in states that have a ban on A. So many maternity care providers, including the Texas-based Kumar, have chose to stay in states where A is prohibited, but some are opting to leave, worsening the crisis. So a lot of people go through their birthing process unassisted in the state. And there will only be more women in need of care because of the ban, even in Alabama, the A ban in Alabama. So, anyway, the March of Dimes reported in 2021 that most recent data available, almost a third of women in Alabama are Black. According to the CDC, Black women are 3 times likely than white women to die from pregnancy complications. A lot of times, and you can go online, y'all, and listen to Black women's experience in birthing. Now, I didn't have those problems because my husband was with me every step of the way. When I gave birth to my son, he was in the room, he was asking questions, he was very involved in it. So they didn't try to pull nothing with me. But go look at some of the videos of Black women talking about their experience. They are complaining about bleeding, they complain about the pain, and they get ignored. That's why I'm saying these things that are happening to Black women are not natural. It's very manufactured and very calculated and planned. So I can't tell you how many videos I have watched of Black women that lost their babies, and it could have easily been prevented. They would tell the nurse, and if the nurse says them folks, they won't listen to them. They'll just ignore their their concerns. They'll just ignore them altogether. Black women get heavily ignored, not only by the doctors in maternity wards, but by the nurses too. And these are deliberate acts. Make no mistake about it. So anyway, what our demographic analysis shows, 7 in 10 Black women in America live in states where it's a ban or restricted A. There's going to be an influx of people who need care, and there are not many providers anymore. So they're saying they're going to need more people to be midwives. And you know what? My great grandmother on my father's side, that's what she was. She was a midwife. She was a midwife. And all of the people down in Ocilla, the black side of Ocilla, Georgia, she birthed. The ones that are like in their late 70s, 80s, and 90s, she birthed them. And she and another woman, they were the only two midwives, but for a while, she was the only midwife in Ocilla. And then a second woman became a midwife there. So anyway, they're just talking about, how complicated it is and difficult for midwives to practice outside of hospitals, citing concerns over women's safety. Yeah, but how safe is it if these women got to travel so far to even get care? You're really putting them in danger. Because if somebody is having a breech birth or something is going wrong, they got to travel a long distance. You're putting them in danger. How the hell are you not putting them in danger, but the midwife is? I mean, this place is so silly. So it now mandates freestanding birth centers, facilities with low risk patients are guided through the birthing process by midwives, must meet hospital licensing requirement to operate. So, I guess that's a way to, I had a friend, that's how she had her baby, but it was probably about 2 decades ago. She had a midwife. She didn't trust any of the doctors. So y'all, tell me what you think about this. Of course, it's going to be a bigger problem for Black women. They always make it that way, but y'all never believe them when they say it's higher among us. The next time they try to tell you that it's so bad for Black women, go listen to, there are videos out there of Black women telling you their experience. They do not get the same care when it comes down to birthing that white women get. It's totally different. And that's why these things are happening. Don't let them try to make you feel like there's something biological that's causing it. It isn't. It's them causing it. They're causing the entire thing. Make no mistake about it. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.